and enigmatic figure in the Cimino diaspora, a woman named Joanne Corelli. Her precise role in the 50 years of their life together has always been a source of conjecture, but many people regard her as a kind of Sunset Boulevard Mrs. Danvers, loyal and aggressively protective, disliked by many people in Hollywood. Maybe by some improbable form of osmosis. Just being near the house would illuminate some of the ambiguities in Cimino's life for me. A bewildering mixture of truths and untruths, some circulated by others, but many by him. However, one thing was undeniably true. He became one of the most reviled figures ever in the industry. Scandals tend to fade over time, but 38 years after the disaster of his movie, Heaven's Gate, it is still a Hollywood myth. I have found nobody there, even people who were born after the movie opened in 1980, without a view on it. After the modest success of the first movie he directed, the Clint Eastwood vehicle Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and the monumental success of The Deer Hunter in 1978, Cimino was given the Hollywood version of Droit du Seigneur. He could make more or less what he wanted, and what he wanted was Heaven's Gate, an ambitious Western that he wrote and directed. At that time, the average budget for a film was around $9 million, although many were cheaper. Rocky cost just over $1 million in 1976. Cimino's movie was originally budgeted at $11.5 million and ended up at an unprecedented $40 million. That would not have been so hard to bear for the studio that financed it, United Artists, if it had been a success or, even at worst, a prestigious succès d'estime with great reviews. It was neither. Not only were the reviews unanimously vicious, but nobody went to see it. After a week, UA did something no studio had ever done before. They withdrew it, putting a $40 million movie on the shelf. 2 years later, United Artists went out of business, and everyone believed that it was Cimino's movie that had bankrupted them. There have been many crimes in Hollywood over the years, from David Begelman, a multi-millionaire studio chief stealing $10,000 from an actor, to Cleopatra's producer Walter Wanger shooting his wife's lover in the groin. What was different about Cimino's crime was that it was not actually illegal, but that made no difference. In the court of Hollywood opinion, he had been found guilty, and there would be no parole for good behavior. For him, the punishment was much worse. Banishment from the career that had promised so much, and from his work as a director who had total control over his movies. Cimino retreated to his refuge in the hills, a Hollywood version of house arrest. If he had worn an ankle bracelet, the words Heaven's Gate would have been engraved on it. While it was true that almost every critic hated the film at the time, within 25 years of its release, many critics, particularly in Europe, came to regard Heaven's Gate as a masterpiece, one of the greatest westerns ever made. For Cimino, of course, the truth was that the film had been a masterpiece from the beginning, but he had always had an ambivalent relationship with the truth. This was, after all, a man who had said, "I am not who I am, and I am who I am not." A statement designed to be either obfuscating or illuminating, depending on your view of Cimino. Of all the things Cimino was, there were many things he was not. He was not born in either 1952 or 1941, as he told people. He was not inspired to make The Deer Hunter because of his stint as a Green Beret, because he never actually was one. He said he was the screenwriter of the movie, but another writer was credited. He talked of a much-loved daughter, but he was not actually her father. In the last 20 years of his life, he vehemently denied that he had had any plastic surgery done. But he became so unrecognizable that nobody believed him. What is extraordinary is how implausible some of his stories